to the YouTubes to check them audios.
Yeah, check us out really quick.
And wait for it to
God damn.
go live. There we go.
Ooh.
Let's see. On Baba Boiler, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, I thought there was someone here to. God. Interesting. See, what are you doing here, man? Oh, YouTube? How do we sound?
So far, I sound good. I'm just hearing you out to see if there's static or anything since you're the one streaming to make sure it doesn't cut off.
Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah, just let me know. Bro, this fucking Batmobile. I got a lot to say about this, man. I got a lot to say.
Oh man, you got a lot to say about one of the biggest mechanics of that game.
Yep.
So far, so good. Yeah, everything sounds good. I'm just gonna lower myself a little bit more because it sounds like I'm a bit louder than you.
Okay.
Everything sounds tolerable.
All right. Cool. So let's get started. Guys, welcome to the 63rd episode of the DualShock and Sense Podcast. My name is Soul, the connoisseur anime wife, who is joined by one half of the usual suspects, by the usual DSS crew, and that's Walt. What's going on, man?
What's going on, yo? No Kingdom Hearts a king over here. Only the manga maniac to serve you. But hear me out, right? This man is out on his bachelor celebration, so now
Well,
it's safe to
that's what
say
he's calling it. That's what he's calling it.
but that's a code, y'all. That's code for
Yeah, the gentleman's
I'm down
club.
in the slumps.
He's at the gentleman's club again. That's what it is.
He's in the gents club. That is one of one of the more infamous ones. Like how in Parks and Rec, oh, who was it? No, it was Tom Segura that mentioned that he once went to a strip club called Beef,
Oh
and
man.
it sounds like this man went to something like that. Something not too pristine. It's a gentleman's club, but it's more of a pigsty. You know what I mean?
Jesus Christ. Well,
This man,
we'll get the breakdown from him when he comes back, so to know
yes
exactly what
sir.
happened. But yeah, guys, we got a good show planned for you guys. Obviously, this will be state of play centric. Obviously, since so much came out of it, and I'm very excited to talk about that. I don't know about you all, because
Yes sir.
yeah, I'm excited. But yeah, before we get started, want to remind everyone to go ahead and like the podcast, share it out. We would greatly appreciate that. So yeah, we're gonna kick off the podcast like we normally do and talk about the games that we have been playing this past week. Um, who wants to start things off? Whoa, me or
Uh,
you?
let's see. How about you, Macho? Oh wait. So here. So I'll start off. It's been a relatively light week. So I mean, light in the sense of how many games I've been playing, but I'm trying to focus more in on like at least two games at a time and not play too much, not have my attention divided. Ever since I beat Kirby, well, after I beat Kirby, I realized there's more. Because that's the kind of game that's like, oh, once you complete the main story, psych. There's an end game. There's more to it. And so I've been doing all the extra challenges and all the extra levels that game has thrown at me, little by little. Every night I play a little bit before bed to chill. Other than Kirby, I mean, honestly, the usual suspects in my gaming library, chipping in at Triangle Strategy here and there. I've been play a little bit of Blasphemous the other day. Trying to get through that story. I never really beat that game, so I'm interested in actually beating it. It's just so hard, and I wasn't really in the mindset, but now I'm kind of getting into it. And PlayStation wise, or console wise rather, like big console wise, home console, not so much on the Switch. I decided to hook up a game that I never really beat, and I downloaded it. Downloaded the PS5 version. I bought it for $10, and that's Death Stranding.
Ooh.
And I decided to download it again, and I realized I was like 20 hours in. But you know what? It's been too long. I'm gonna restart that bitch. I'm gonna restart this game and watch its introduction, 2 hour and a half introduction of a cutscene, and I'm gonna dive back into it because I've actually forgotten how to play the game.
Yeah.
I hooked it up and I loaded up my old save, and let me tell you, I had no idea what was going on screen. I had no idea what was happening on the map, the UI, the damn packages. I had a bunch of packages on me. I was like, what does any of this do? So I was just screw it. I'm gonna start a new game on the PS5 version and enjoy it with the enhanced graphics and all that. So I hooked that up. I'm still getting through Horizon. As I mentioned last week, it's something I just have to chip at it, slowly. I'm just doing main missions. I'm not doing any side content. Because I realized after beating Elden Ring, I need to focus a bit more on main missions so I don't get burnt out by a game. I didn't get burnt out by Elden Ring, but after Elden Ring, I didn't really find a game that captured my attention as well. So I'm just focusing on mainline because that's the strength of Horizon, I think. Like just the story that it tells, like on its actual.
That's a shame because I think the side quests are like not like the open world like activities, but the actual like side quests themselves are like just as well done as the main quests.
I'd say the side quests I treat as their own self-contained stories, at least some of them, because some of them don't really have to do much with your route. A lot of them, I feel like it's like self-contained situations that are part of the bigger world. I do enjoy those, but because they're so big and they take a bit to get through, and I like to explore every single dialogue option, and I like to do everything in that side quest. I want to get through more of the main quest and then do more side quests because I know that once I start one side quest, I want to do all of them. So I want to slowly, I want to balance it out. Some of the main quest and occasional side quests, but those are my two favorite things of the game. I mean, narrative wise, because anything else that's extra, like the ruins and the collectibles and whatever, it's not that I'm crazy about, but I just don't want to do because it's so much, and there's more games I want to get to. So I'm focusing on the main story and on the side content, or on the side quest.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Well,
How about you?
How did Ghostwire go for you?
Oh, well, listen, man. No. I'm still playing it, and I'm still enjoying it. Like in all honesty,
Okay.
It doesn't blow my blow me out of my socks and blow my socks off. Like it's not. I wouldn't say it's on the same caliber as a Forbidden West or an Elden Ring, but it definitely is a game worth buying if you have a PlayStation or if you're on PC. You have a PC because it's on Epic Games. I wouldn't say it's a game that you should buy at full price. I bought it at $40, and I think that's reasonable. But honestly, man, the story. This is what I like about a game. This is what I look for in a game. It's when I have an idea of what you're trying to sell me, but then you just flip it all around. Because when I first went into Ghostwire, I saw the trailers. I was like, oh. This is I don't know what this is. I know the story. This is predictable, whatever. And then I started. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, this ain't what I thought. And then I just like that they subverted my expectations with how the development of like the character and the main quest is going. And I like the fact that although that's like 200,000 souls that you have to collect, but they're like in groups and whatnot, and you can collect them rather quickly it's a staggering number, but you can collect them rather quickly, more quickly than you would think. But what I really like about the world is that there's these specific spirits that they're just chilling around the world, but they actually are still like in limbo, and you have to complete a certain quest for them in order for them to pass on to heaven or whatever.
Yeah.
And essentially with these side spirits, side quests, whatever, they feel distinct. They don't feel copy and paste. Like, you have to climb this tower. Like in Far Cry, you have to climb this tower, and it's the same platforming, and you got the tower, and now you unlock that region of the map and whatever. No, with these quests, one of them it was this man had a spirit that brought good fortune upon him, but in reality, it was a lot of bad luck. And there was this woman that lived across the street that she was worried about this spirit because she thought it was being exploited. And when you go to that house, it's like a little horror section. Like the lights are flickering. There's no music. You just hear the crying of the spirit. There's like the occasional like door that opens and closes. It's like a little horror section that they put in, and at the end of it, you just happen to save this spirit that was being exploited for its good fortune. And there was like a lot of items and a lot of offerings around it from the man that was abusing it. And it's just a lot of environmental storytelling and a lot of really cool personality to the world through these side quests. So I'm really enjoying that. But hey, maybe I won't have the same opinions as y'all if you ever get to playing it, because I know y'all won't buy it if it's full price, or if y'all even are like considering it buying it like in the future.
I wouldn't buy it even if it was $20. So
it's the type of game that I caught my attention because of its themes thematically, and because I'm a sucker for anything that has to do with Japanese folklore, and I'm really digging it so far.
That's cool. That's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I doubt I will ever play the game. Maybe Macho feels different, but yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. As for me, man, let me tell you. So, first of all, I finished Divinity Original Sin 2. Clocked in at 106 hours, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, became divine, and yeah, it was what an awesome experience that game is, man. Like just top to bottom, just like an absolute masterpiece. And like I don't throw that word around lightly, but that's genuinely how I feel about that game, man. It's pretty incredible. There was this
Nice, man.
There was this kind of like late. It wasn't even like a quest. It was just like a random encounter. But I was in the last city that you're in the game, and the like lead. I think he's not a magister, but he's like a paladin, I think. He has a sort of owl coop, I think it's called, in his kind of like cathedral area, and I think it's called like an owlie or something like that. It's there's like a lady who's basically in charge of like these owls who get sent messages or get tied messages onto their legs so they can send out these owls like all across the country to send messages basically. There's a word for it, but I'm kind of blanking.
Oh, it's like the what they did in like medieval times with like pigeons, but it's with owls.
Yeah, for sure. But in this case, just with owls, right? So the thing was that I went to this specific place, and I have this skill that you can invest in, which allows you to talk to animals, and it gives you a bunch of like, weird and fun encounters if you do have that skill. And I went to the owl coop, and I noticed that there's two owls walking around, and there's one clearly dead. And so I talked to one of the owls that was running around, and he's like an old man, and he has like an old British man accent. And so he's like, oh, like pip pip cheerio, like all those kind of things, right? And he's like, man, I really wish Jonathan would wake up. He's being so rude. He's usually so chatty too whenever we have visitors.
Oh,
And the
that's so
other
sad.
the other guy is like, yeah, Jonathan really isn't like this. Just give him a second. He'll wake up. And they're like, Jonathan just had a big meal, so he needs to take his rest after he has a big meal like this. And I kind of break the news to them like, I think Jonathan's dead. And you can actually like investigate Jonathan's body, and you find like a severed hand inside his mouth, and you pull it out. And I'm guessing the thing was is that he choked on it. He fucking died.
Oh my
Um,
God.
yeah.
Can
So
from eating a human or something?
I guess so. The owls tell you that he's usually like a big eater, so I guess so. Um, so yeah, and then you break the news to the owls like, yo, I think Jonathan's dead, and they're like, nonsense. He's just taking a nap. He'll be up soon. And then you're like, well, okay. And then you talk to the lady who's in charge of the owls, and you kind of say the same thing, like, yo, I think one of your owls is dead. And she's like, who, Jonathan? Ah, no, don't worry. He usually after a big nap. Don't worry about him. So it's just like these people are just like in denial, man. Um,
Copium.
yeah, and like that's not even like a quest. It's just like literally like a random encounter, which is pretty cool. Um, so yeah, I really
That's
enjoyed
so
that.
funny.
Yeah, it was awesome. Um, and yeah, again, like I said, just like, and that's something that you could not even like, if you didn't have that skill, then you would literally just hear those owls making whatever noises owls make. You wouldn't, yeah, you wouldn't even
A
hear
lot of
them.
hoot hoot.
Right. You wouldn't hear them make it talk to you like at all. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
That's so
Um,
D&D. Sounds like something
yeah,
that will happen in D&D for sure.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, overall the game was awesome. The final fight was pretty challenging. One of my characters died in like two hits, I think. So I literally the final battle I had to do with like three characters, which was a little weird.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But it was awesome. Like the companion quests are the things that I remember the most about that game, man. Like one of the characters, her major thing was this like arch demon was like possessing her body, and she was really struggling like maintaining like her own sort of like sense of self. So like the majority of her quest was like dealing with that, and then like at the end of chapter 6 you come face to face with this arch demon. It's pretty fucking terrifying. And actually in that
Wow.
chapter he has like this like secret hideout, and his what makes him so strong is that he has multiple souls that he's been kind of like possessing and things like that. And
Mm-hmm.
the way that the game represents the souls are through like candles. And you go to his like secret hideout, and you find like you run into like one candle at a time, and if you snuff out the fires, that completely like severs his connection to that soul, right? But again, like the moral question is like, you know you're essentially like extinguishing these souls, right? So if you put out the fire, then those souls are like gone forever. But at the same time, it's like these souls are being possessed by demons, so like you're kind of doing these souls a favor, right? So like the girl who's also being possessed, like she's like kind of questioning like, yo, is this right at all? Like we're like, sure, we are freeing these souls, but at the same time we're like extinguishing them forever. So like it's an interesting conundrum. But the deeper that you progress into this hideout, it's like a pretty incredible scene. Like you walk out into like literally a sea of candles, man. Like there literally has to be like over 100. And which is cool because like before that moment it's literally you're just going like one at a time. Like you only come face to face with like one candle, and then two, and then eventually it's like literally just this whole like field of candles. And one of your characters casts a rain ability to like snuff them all out, in like one fell swoop. And then eventually, yeah, you do come face to face with the archdemon. But yeah, like that's just like how one of the companion quests like eventually like leads to an end, and it's pretty incredible. But yeah, overall, man, that game was absolutely incredible. As like my first introduction into like a CRPG, yeah, that was. I'm so glad I started with that. And like I said last week, man, I really hope that Larian ports Baldur's Gate 3 to console, because I am dying to play that game.
Absolutely, man. And I might be wrong, but I think it's still in early access, right?
I think so, yeah.
So maybe they'll port it whenever it's ready.
I hope, man. It's been a while. I think it's been on in early access, like released for a while. So
Yeah, it's been a minute. I remember that when I started Divinity, like I started getting into Divinity, that's around the time that Baldur's Gate first released its early access version on Steam, I think.
yeah.
But yeah, and with Divinity, the companion quest, once you complete them, do you get like are the rewards like worth it?
I mean, obviously, I think the satisfaction of like
Completing it?
completing it and like deepening your relationship with them. So like, I think almost sort of like in a Mass Effect style. I think if you like just flat out don't do them, I think there are consequences. I
Oh
haven't
wow.
like I think it's completely possible for you to be at some point like betrayed by your companions, and I think that happens if you don't complete their companion quests and like deepen your relationship with them. Obviously, I never got that, but I think that is a possibility that I saw like on YouTube. Like there's a video that's like all companion betrayals, and I'm like, whoa. So
Wow.
yeah, so I think that's a thing.
It'd be hilarious if you get to the final boss and everyone just turns on you.
Well, I think the big thing, like the main goal of the game is to become divine, right? To become a god. But the thing about the how your companions fit into that is that they're also like laying their stake to godhood as well, right? It could be literally any you or your companions that that could raise up to or rise up to godhood, right? And it's only one of you can do it. So I do think, dependent on like whose companion quests you focus on, if you do all of them or not, I think it will be tougher. Because what I had to do, I had to convince them or be like, or reach a certain point where they're okay with allowing me to ascend rather than them, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
That makes sense.
they were okay with giving up that opportunity to me. And I think if you don't do their companion quests, that they might be a little harder to convince, or they may actually try to fight you to ascend, rather than you. So I think that's a possibility within itself. But thankfully I did their companion quests. Obviously, I think romance also has to do is like a reward with that as well. Like obviously, if you don't do their companion quest, then you won't be able to like romance your companions either. So that's another reward you would have to think about. But yeah.
But who were you maining? Like
For
who was your protagonist?
I made my own.
Oh, okay, so you did the custom.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, and it makes sense that how they did it, where everyone wants to be divine, because you can literally play the game as any of them.
yeah.
Like you can start the game as the red lizard or the elf or oh man, now you have to replay it to do the feigns.
Yeah, I don't know if I will because that's another like 100 hours. But
Oh, true.
I do. If I ever were to, then yeah, I think I would start off as like not as my own player character, but I would be like Sabine or something like that, and then carry Losa with my team again because she's awesome, and then from there I would take two characters that I didn't use in my first playthrough for sure.
And do you think the experience was like rather comfortable with controller?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I got the hang of it pretty quickly.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
that's good to hear. Okay, and then I bet for Switch it'll play quite well if it's on the go and whatnot, or even on the Steam Deck when whoever on this podcast ever gets it. That's a fantastic game to play on the go. I feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice man.
But yeah, that's Divinity Original Sin 2. Such an awesome game, man. On top of that, so obviously the Days of Play sale happened, or I think it's still happening right now.
It's still happening, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you've done anything during that sale, but I, Walt, I bought a ton of shit.
Did you?
Yeah. So one of them is on the screen right now, Batman Arkham Knight. That was only like $7, I want to say, and
Yeah.
it was usually like I think like 30 or 20 or something like that. So yeah, awesome that I waited and I didn't go and get that 20 or $30 version.
Yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
20.
yeah. So playing that right now, it's fucking awesome. I'll get more into it when Macho comes back next week, but yeah, I'm really enjoying Batman Arkham Knight. It's so far like it's fantastic. Aside from the Batmobile, there's too much Batmobile, man. Already, I'm like,
Yeah, that's something that Macho likes. So I want to hear what he has to say when you tell him, because I know
right,
that the Batmobile sections were a big problem for a lot of people.
yeah. It's too much. I'm like 4 or 5 hours in, and I feel like 3 of those hours have been spent in the Batmobile. It's too much. It's too much.
Batman Arkham Cart.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, so bought that. And okay, where else did we? Okay, so then Batman Arkham Knight. I bought The Outer Worlds.
Oh wow.
Yeah, which I
I
it
never would have thought of you buying that game.
because after Divinity, man, this is you're gonna notice this with the rest of the games that I list off. But I was in a RPG fix.
Okay.
But Outer Worlds is weird, man, because like it's the same issue I had with Cyberpunk. You can't see your character, which sucks. I really thought, like with their experience with New Vegas, that they would do the first person and third person, like let you do that. They don't. So, but that's on me. I didn't research that, so I just assumed. So that's on me. But on top of that, I don't know, man. The game is just kind of like so. And again, I'm only like 3 hours in, so maybe it will hook me. But the core gameplay loop of just like I don't know, like just shooting things, walking around, and then just like talking to people, like I don't know. So far, it's not like the gameplay hooks just aren't like into me yet.
It's pretty generic.
Yeah, um, yeah, it's pretty generic so far. But I do like the dialogue. I think the people are really really funny. I like the the sort of like it's actually sort of like the OG Ratchet and Clank games in terms of like the themes of like consumerism, and like how funny they can make that. Yeah, I really enjoy how they're making it. Like how it's like company policy not to die while you're on the clock or like things like that.
That's
So
hilarious.
yeah, yeah. So things like that. But yeah, so far, yeah, funny dialogue, funny characters, but the gameplay hooks aren't in me yet. So yeah, Outer Worlds, got that. Prey, finally got Prey, man. Been
Finally, man.
yeah, been dying to get that as a fan of the
God
Dishonored
damn.
games. Yeah, been meaning to get to that. I haven't played it yet, but I will eventually.
A gem of a game.
Yeah,
Underrated as hell.
yeah, yeah. So definitely excited to get into that. Let's see what else. I finally was able to get Hitman 2 inside of Hitman 3. Been meaning to do that for the longest time, but like Hitman 2 has been like $60 since like last year, man. So I was like, I am not spending $60 on that.
Ain't no way.
Yeah, so I think it was something like it was a lot less than $60. I know that much. So
Right.
so yeah, I got that. Let's see what else did I get. There was something else I know I got. Prey, Hitman 2, The Outer Worlds, Batman, Greedfall. I got Greedfall.
Oh man. Oh man.
I actually got it physically at GameStop. It was something like $18. So,
Okay.
I know it's rough, but
Yeah, I hear so here's the thing. I have Greedfall because I got it on the PlayStation Plus when it was a free game.
yeah.
And I gotta be honest, I didn't keep playing it, but it wasn't because I was not motivated. I actually enjoyed how the story started, and I was enjoying the characters, and I was enjoying the general theme of the game and general premise. But I don't. It's one of those things. It's like an anime that I start, and then I just watch another anime, and I forget about that previous one I was watching. I just forgot about it. I don't know if that's a testament to it not gripping itself onto me as hard as other games, or I just need to give it more time. But I hear that it becomes pretty repetitive, I think.
Yeah.
And I didn't play it when it first released because I think by the time that it came out, I was fresh out Witcher 3, fresh off the Witcher 3, and it's difficult to top that. It's difficult for you to play Witcher 3 and then play another open world fantasy RPG, you know?
Yeah, for sure. It is rough. It is very
Oh
rough.
man.
Yeah, I could definitely say that without a doubt.
Yeah.
But even like the character creator, man. Like I'll give a nod to Outer Worlds to say that the character creator, even though you don't get to see that character, is far more. There's far more options. It's way more involved in that game versus Greedfall, which I'm pretty shocked at because like this game, like it hangs its hat on supposedly being BioWare like, and the character creator is so like unlike BioWare. Like I don't know. It's so limited. I was really taken aback by that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there's that, and the combat just it just doesn't feel right. It
I didn't get
feel,
that far.
yeah, it doesn't feel good. But you know, I'm at the very least like I've gotten into this doing like extensive research. I know how people feel about I knew the combat was going to be iffy. I knew it was going to be repetitive. I knew the environments. There was like 2 environments in the entire game. I knew that all the interiors are going to be the same, right? I knew all this stuff going in, but regardless, you know, people say that the decision making, you know, the writing is still pretty good. So I was like, you know what, for $20, I'll bite the bullet. I also went into this knowing that the companions are not memorable in the least bit. So honestly, why did I buy this game? But I don't know.
Good question.
Man. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But again, for less than $20, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining.
It's a steal.
Sure.
I was going to ask you because you're an RPG fix a game. I want to suggest that it is on the Days of Play sale. Is the Yakuza Like a Dragon game, man?
Yeah, but it's not like. Go ahead.
It's turn based, so it's similar to Divinity in that sense. You didn't have to play every other Yakuza before it, and it's a completely different story. So I think if you are semi interested in Yakuza, I think you will enjoy it if you don't mind the turn based aspect of it.
Yeah, I don't. My only thing is I'm looking for game like RPGs in the sense of like like a Mass Effect or things like that.
Okay, so so it's like comparing. You're looking for more Dark Souls than you are Neo, where Neo has more of like a set protagonist. So you want something a bit more free form,
right?
Where you can create your character.
Yeah,
okay.
for sure. But the problem is that those games are so like even talking about Mass Effect in general, but Mass Effect is such like a rare breed. Like there's just not a lot of games like that, and I don't know why.
It's different.
I don't know why I thought that there was, but like really like. Your options are pretty limited if you're looking for like RPGs like that, which kind of sucks, but whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like I'm missing one other game, but I think I got all of them.
Outriders.
Hell no.
Disco Elysium?
No, I have that.
Okay.
Yeah, I have that. But yeah, I think that's all the games I bought on Days of Play. I knocked out Divinity. So now Batman Arkham Knight is my main focus, and once I knock that out, I think I'm going to Outer Worlds and try to focus on that. But who knows, man? We have Stray coming up in pretty soon, so maybe that will be next on the docket. Eventually, who knows?
For sure.
Yeah. So yeah, that is pretty much it for me in terms of games that I've been playing, and the games that I bought this past month. So yeah,
solid selection. Well,
yeah.
I might not RPG, but I will recommend some games that are on sale for you. Resident Evil Village, a must play. I don't know how much it is on the sale because I already have it, so it doesn't say the price for me. I assume it's like in the 30s, maybe.
Maybe.
But But solid selection. So those are all the games. You said you were missing one. There's none other that sticks in your mind.
I feel like I am missing one, but maybe I'm not. Maybe I did list all of them. Who knows?
Because I'm seeing a lot of these, and you have a lot of these.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I know. Final Fantasy 14. That's an RPG.
I don't want to play. I don't want to play that.
It's a mega RPG. Macho would tell you.
There was someone in my last class who was literally playing it like during our lectures.
That's insane.
I was like, I don't want to be a loser like that.
Damn, you hear that, Macho?
I'm kidding.
Calling you a loser for playing that cat game, that cat people game.
Yeah. But yeah, man, that is it for me in terms of games that I've been playing. Let's jump into some of these topics, man. I mean, really, the main one we're gonna focus on. Really, the rest of this podcast is State of Play. Cause,
yes, sir.
Whoa, State of Play was a fucking banger, man.
This State of Play, for those of y'all listening, you can check Macho and my reactions that we did during the State of Play this last week. So you can check that out if you want. But let me tell you, man, we both agree this is one of the best states of play I've seen in a while.
I think ever, to be honest.
I think ever, honestly. This is hands down, I think. And after like sitting on it, I told Macho that this was like an 8 out of 10 because he asked for a score, and then he said a 9. And I'm like, honestly, man, this is closest. I think I'm getting like more of a 9 out of 10, like almost a full 10, because this State of Play, absolutely every announcement they had, I was somewhat interested in.
Yeah.
At least in some level.
Yeah, for sure. I struggle to find, like, the best thing about this is that it was only 30 minutes. So it was like, it was concise. It felt like it knew what it wanted to say, and it got you out of there before it got, too long or anything like that. And for that reason, like, I honestly struggle to find like a low point in this whole thing. But yeah, so let's go over like game by game, what they went with.
Yeah, man.
So yeah. Obviously, they. Oh, you got a list?
I got the article pulled up where it lists everything announced.
Well, you don't need an article for this first one because we all know what they started things off with.
Oh, brother!
But what a baller way to start off an event with Resident Evil goddamn 4.
A remake, my guy. That blew. So here's the thing. Not only the announcement, the way that they set it up, because they're not like, here's the game and the release date. No. Here's the release date first. Okay, right? Why do we need you to pay attention to release date? Look what we're making. And they do that little R in the middle. And I saw some people reacting, they're like, Last of Us? Because they heard the Spanish guitar.
I did too.
And I was like, immediately, it clicked. I was like, Spanish. Immediately in my mind, mátalo, morir es vivir. And I'm like, yes, sir, yes. When they did the little switcheroo and they put the Resident Evil, oh my God, man. What were you doing? What were you doing when you found this out?
I mean, so like, obviously, the natural thing you go through in your head, what this could possibly be. When I first saw the R, I was thinking it was Rockstar related. And I heard the guitar, and I went Red Dead Redemption, the remake or the remaster that's been rumored for the longest time. That's what yeah, that's what I immediately thought. And then obviously I had the Last of Us remake, kind of lines of thinking as well. But then obviously when it revealed itself to be Resident Evil 4, like I was losing my shit. I was working like while like this literally started when my shift started. So like I had I had my earphones in listening to it. Yeah, man, I was so happy.
This reveal, I think it knows what it is, because they didn't have to show gameplay. They just have to confirm, hey, we're making this, and this is how the cutscenes look. This is how the player models look. Now, tell me, what do you think about how everyone's looking? We got a glimpse at Ashley and at Leon. We got a little glimpse at Ada as well. How are you feeling about how the vibes are and how the themes are going?
I think Ashley looks fucking incredible,
like a human.
Yeah. But like so far, and I want to get your opinions on this because like I haven't played Resident Evil 4. I don't know how you played it first, but I played it on the Wii, and that was back on
Sheesh.
like what 2006, and the Wii is like without a doubt like the best version of that game. Like the Wii is actually like really really good with Resident Evil 4. But from what I remember from that game, and first of all, no Salazar. Come on, man. Why did you guys show my boy Salazar? Come on now.
The man in the shadows.
But that scene in the trailer with Ashley like running away, like I don't remember something like that happening in the OG game at all. I don't know if you do.
So this is what Macho and I were talking about actually. How first of all, when I played this game for the first time, it was on PlayStation 4. It was the remastered version they did.
Really? Wow.
I never played this game back when. So I played it on the PlayStation 4, and similar to what game was it? Resident Evil 2 remake. They also explained this on the blog post that they are gonna develop more of the storyline. They're gonna implement more like key story moments. They're gonna expand a little bit more of what they couldn't tell before. And I think that section where she's running, I think we're gonna get. I told Macho this, and this would be so cool. I think we're gonna get a larger playable section with Ashley. We did get an Ashley playable section in the original one, where it was in the castle, and you needed to blow these like fire contraptions and burn the enemies. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
But this time around, I told Macho how this gives me the vibe of an Outlast or like an escape room from Resident Evil 7, where you're going to play as Ashley, but you're actually going to be surviving and not so much fighting. And I feel like they're going to tell the story of how she even got into this mess. Like, that's what I'm thinking now. I'm thinking more of, they show her time in the castle. They're going to show her minutes. So they're going to show her, and then you're going to play as Leon, and then you're going to be like, oh man, and she was just here. I just played her section. How did I miss her? Kind of deal. Because I think, dude, they have so much room to fill in. Same with Ada. I think that they can very much do a full-on part 1, part 2, like Leon and Claire in Resident Evil 2 Remake, where they did Leon A, Claire B, or Leon Claire A, where you can play as Leon and then as Ada, or you can even play as Ada and then Leon. But with Ashley, I'm anticipating like a whole, like a mini campaign with her, for sure. Because listen, man, they need to redeem her. All I remember from Ashley, Leon, help! Come on, man. One thing I'm grateful of in that trailer, there's a section where you hear her scream, and it feels like an actual like blood curdling scream. And it's like, yes, that's what I want to hear about Ashley. I want to hear her actually like in danger, not a whole meme of you know. No. I'm excited, man. I saw that little part where she's running, and I immediately in my mind, I have no idea where this is going, because this is nowhere in the original game.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely excited, and sort of like RE2 and RE3. I'm excited to see like what liberties they do, because like sure, these are remakes, but at the same time they're like complete reimaginings as well, right? So yeah, I'm definitely excited to see like what new they add. And like for me, this is gonna feel like a new game, even without it being a remake, because like I haven't played it in since like 2006 or 2007 or whatever. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to go back to it.
I'm definitely super pumped to see certain enemies, especially the regenerators. My guy, do you remember this type of enemy?
I don't.
This is the type of enemy where you needed the sniper with the thermal scope to see where the parasite was on the body, and you needed to kill that parasite to kill the actual enemy. And it was a type of zombie or creature that it was like all black, like it was just a blob, like a walking blob of muscle. And its noise would be like it heavy breathing, and the whole environment would be super quiet. That type of enemy would be the most scary of them, because literally the only way for you to kill it, you needed specifically the sniper. You needed to aim in this little ass room with the sniper to see with your thermal scope where the parasite was. And if you hit it, it drops dead. But dude, there's so much like, with the over the shoulder now. I hope. I mean, I'm assuming they're going with the full like free motion aiming and not the what they had in Resident Evil 4 where you aimed and you couldn't move. Remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
You needed to really position yourself and shoot, and then reposition yourself and shoot. I hope they go freeform like in Resident Evil 2 remake, which I assume they will. They will for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Man.
Cannot imagine them not doing that.
Absolutely. I can't wait for the disgusting creatures, man. The what? Not Salazar, but what's the bodyguard called? The religious zealot one. That turns into a centipede in the barn. Oh man, this game's gonna be wild.
Yeah,
it's gonna be wild.
I'm excited. I love that they kicked off the show with that. Again, just like a baller move for sure. So next they went into more Resident Evil and they showed off Resident Evil Village on VR for all you horny bastards.
I'm rubbing my hands over here like Birdman right now.
Oh man!
Listen, man. In the words of Dr. Mo, if you cowards don't put a section where you can get stepped on, you're missing out. You're missing out, Capcom. Put it in.
Yeah,
I think, man.
I think like first of all, this is the perfect sort of like not even like or I guess it can be like the killer app for PSVR. Like this is the perfect, like this is literally what people have been fantasizing over for a year now, or since we've learned about Lady Dimitrescu. So this is literally what the people wanted. What better way to sell your new hardware than by sort of pleading with the horny bastards of the world and saying like, look, man, like we got this for y'all. So I think this is perfect.
Those mods, man. Yeah. People get their mods and in there. That it is gonna. A lot of people are gonna start to forget reality from fiction, man. What I mean, once they see this 8-9 foot tall woman, they're gonna think that reality is often disappointing, like Thanos, man. But honestly, man, it's the perfect VR game as well. It's like Resident Evil 7 when they did the VR for PS4 when the first PSVR. I'm dreading the House Beneviento section with VR, dude.
Oh, that's gonna be awful.
That's gonna be horrific. And Macho and I said that this game, for him at least, this might be the game that sells him the PSVR 2.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I'm not surprised.
Dude, here's the thing, man. Like, I agree as well with him because this game I replayed like 4 or 5 times, and every single time I had a blast. Like going through this game in VR, the way that they detail, like you even picking up our little rock on the floor, like a little stone, like the amount of interaction that this game is gonna have is gonna be insane. When you can slap Lady Dimitrescu in the face if you jump high enough. Oh man, this is gonna be a blast, man. I'm excited.
Would it be crazy if she actually like reacted to it too? if you did that,
I wouldn't be surprised, man. If for some reason you like where you're dangling and you can somehow move your feet and you kick her in the face.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, she just like starts licking her blood. You're like, hey, yo.
Yeah. It's also important to note that there is some sort of PSVR 2 content coming from Resident Evil 4 Remake as well. In what form that takes, we don't know yet, but that is also something that's pretty cool. So yeah, after Village, they showed off Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, Retribution. I don't really care.
Chapter 2.
Yeah, if I had the one thing I'll say about the state of play in general, to me that was probably the one low point in an otherwise like banger after banger state of play, because I didn't care about that game. Yeah, so after that, they followed up with No Man's Sky VR. Do you have anything you want to say about that?
I'm happy that they're giving No Man's Sky a shout out because it deserves it, man. It's the comeback story of the century, and I think that game in VR has to be magical. I imagine so because playing it on my own with just normal on PC, it's a blast to play. And VR, it literally teleports you into a different world. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah. And then after that, of course, was the big one, Horizon Call of the Mountain on VR. I thought it looked similar to Village. I think that is definitely like the killer app for PSVR 2.
Did
So
you like it personally?
yeah, I don't know if it would convince me to get a VR headset, but it looked pretty cool. I'll say it's definitely like that and Village, I guess, are definitely like the most like visually like pretty incredible looking games on VR. I'll say.
Yeah, and they have a 4K HDR display on the VR apparently, right?
Yeah, yeah. What was most interesting to me? I don't know if you saw this on the PlayStation like YouTube channel, but when they kind of posted this trailer, they referred to it as because they posted this trailer in the Forbidden West update trailer, and they put it all into one video on their YouTube page, and they called it the Horizon series. So
Oh,
I thought that was pretty cool. Like Sony is definitely like they regard Horizon as like a goddamn like tentpole franchise. Like
yeah.
to me, I think this is like their next sort of like they view this as importantly as like as a Uncharted or something like that. So yeah, it was pretty cool to me that they referred to it on that YouTube page as like the Horizon series. Like this like now things like a Forbidden West, Zero Dawn, and Call of the Mountain all exist underneath this Horizon like universe now, which is pretty cool.
No, absolutely. And I think as soon as that's a thought that I had when they announced Forbidden West. I saw the naming situation. I'm like, okay, so Horizon, that'll always be present. It's a
Yeah.
Zero Dawn, it's a Forbidden West, it's a Call of the Mountain. The show that they're doing or movie, that'll also be part of the series. I like that they're connecting because again, we're only in the states in these games, and only in a handful of states within the states. So it's only logical that you'd have a whole entire planet worth of stories to tell, which they can very much do. Dude, I'm interested to see how South America is doing, or Puerto Rico in this world.
They're never gonna do that.
Maybe we got some robot cookies in there, some
Oh man.
some cyber toads. Oh man, that'd be hilarious. But yeah, man, looks cool. I like that they're doing a different protagonist as well. It's not Aloy.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not a spin-off. It's like canon.
Yeah. 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 For sure. So yeah, Call of the Mountain looked cool. And then after that, you may need to help me with the order of this. What did they show after Call of the Mountain?
After Call of the Mountain, so I have a list here that has all the new announcements, not so much also returning ones.
Oh, was it Spider-Man?
I have Spider-Man here. Yeah,
Okay, yeah. So they showed Spider-Man coming to PC, and it was later revealed that Miles Morales is also coming to PC.
that's right.
And on top of this, that I guess the Spider-Man PlayStation franchise as well has sold 33 million copies as of I think it was
That's
like
insane.
as of like May 15th or something like that. So yeah, I don't know why the fanboy. Oh, okay, yeah, I do know why the fanboys have a problem with this, but this is obviously this is gonna make a boatload of money for Sony, and I don't see it.
Dude,
I don't see how that's a bad thing.
and more people, here's what I said this in a reaction. More people get to play this beautiful game. Like, this is a game that is, you have to play this game if you're a Spider-Man fan, a superhero fan, or just a video game fan, because this video game is so fun. And like I told Macho, hey man, Steam Deck on the go. There's a game that you potentially will be playing on your way to San Diego Comic Con with the boys. Know what I mean? I don't know, man.
Yeah,
It's I'm excited for it. Bring all the. I'm hoping for a Last of Us Part 2 on PC at some point in the future. That's my hope for
it's
it.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will happen.
After that, I think it was Stray, right? We
Uh,
talked about Stray.
Really quick before we move on, I'll say that those Black Cat mods, woo wee,
Woo-hoo!
yes sir.
I'm over here screaming like R2D2.
Or Mario.
Hey man,
Yeah,
she's a different breed.
yeah,
She's a different breed.
yeah.
A lot of people would say that, Black Cat is the is the one and not Mary Jane. But hey, man, to each their own.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely excited for that. Yeah, as you said, next was Stray, and god damn, that game looks good, man.
Really? Are you really digging it?
Oh hell yeah, man! Annapurna, man. Anything Annapurna puts out, I'm totally behind.
Anna Perna.
Yeah, don't make that joke, man. But yeah, man, I'm hyped. Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I'm a big
Yeah.
fan of the games that Annapurna publishes. Like they usually, they may have some misses like 12 minutes, but their track record in terms of like what they invest and what they put their name behind is usually like spot on. So yeah, I'm excited. And again, and even that even goes to like Sony as well in terms of like the indies that they choose. Like you can tell it's very curated, right? Like they don't put their name behind just anything that comes out. Like it's very very specific. Things like a Kena Bridge of Spirits or a Solar Ash that came out last year were like those were some of my favorite games last year, right?
Yeah.
And those are games that they, show on their big showcases. And yeah, Stray was. I mean, we saw Stray back in that original PS5 showcase as well, alongside Solar Ash and Kena Bridge of Spirits. So, yeah, I've been excited
Yeah.
for this one since day one, since the day we found out about it.
You're a big cat person?
I don't have one, but yeah, I like cats.
Okay, okay. I think that's something I mentioned that this game it will be especially endearing for you if you like cats.
Yeah,
I don't dislike cats, but that's not the reason why this game clicks with me because of the cat and whatnot. It's the fact there's a detail that I mentioned, and that alone intrigues me just to find out more about the story itself. But it's the fact that the cat is the only organic life form in that trailer.
yeah,
Everything else is a robot. Everything else is an alien. So it's like, why is there only one cat? You know,
yeah,
that's interesting to me. But one of their games that I really want to play it's highly regarded by people and they consider like one of the best games that they played that year is Outer Wilds.
yeah.
And
I still need to play that.
same, and it's on Game Pass. I don't know why I haven't played it. It's just end up playing other games, but I'm glad I played Solar Ash. That's one of the best games last year. Stray. Looking forward to see what that turns out to be.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and then after Stray, what was it?
The goat of the state of play, the
Oh, what was it?
absolute mammoth for me, the Callisto Protocol.
Oh, right. Yeah, talk about it,
Dude,
man.
horror is like beauty to me.
It
Horror,
ain't dead. It ain't dead.
listen, man, horror is nice and kicking, and he ain't looking pale. Horror is nice and rosy on the cheeks, man. Listen, I wrote a piece for Locknet explaining how Dead Space essentially transcended death through the Callisto Protocol, and although it's not Dead Space, it very much is a spiritual successor. It after this gameplay trailer, it hands down is just a hopefully scarier Dead Space. Yeah, by the words of Glenn Schofield, he's aiming to create this generation's scariest games that will scare the crap out of you. And listen, man, what I ask about my horror games is anxiety. I want to feel anxious. I want to feel hopeless. I want to feel like I'm surviving by the skin of my teeth. And this gameplay trailer, oh, it showed that and so much more, man. I know you're not a big horror fan, so this game is to skip for you, I assume.
I don't think so. I'll definitely try it
Ooh,
because yeah, it looks pretty awesome.
listen, man, it looks terrifying. I love the vibes that they're going for. The lighting looks incredible. It really that's something that really they talked about on the blog post. Aside from the lighting and how they're approaching the development of this game is was something they call horror engineering. Essentially, they're trying to blend every single aspect of a video game process into making it the scariest experience you've ever had. And they showed in this game very much how if you're walking around, dark hallways and around the corner you see a shadow and you start questioning yourself, was that really a shadow? Am I seeing things? Was that just a visage? And you start seeing aliens or whatever the biophages, I think it's called, coming from the vents. I wonder what the surprise will be in this game, because I remember in Dead Space they had this thing where they developed a vent system, and essentially you would have the aliens not pop out at the same time on the same playthrough. So for instance, if you're walking down a hallway and there's 3 vents in your first playthrough, you might hear the necromorph walk around the vents, and the first vent will be silent, nothing comes out of it. Second one, silent, nothing will come out of it. And then the third one, he pops out. And then the second time you go through that hallway, maybe he'll pop out the second one or the first one. It keeps you on your toes, and it keeps you always wondering, where the hell am I gonna get attacked from? And this game really much emphasizes just how you're gonna have tools. You're not a fighter. You're just a dude. You're a dude that needs to survive, and I love it. Isaac from Dead Space, he wasn't no fighter. He was an engineer. He didn't know how to kill necromorphs. He knew how to fix a ship. And I love it that this trailer, they also started the same way that I love horror to start. And it's not immediately into the horror. It literally is like, oh, you as the protagonist have an objective. We're arriving at the Callisto moon. They start scanning you. You start entering. The ship lands, and it's like normal. It's like, oh yeah, just another day in the life of an engineer or whatever Jacob is. And during that, during that task is when you encounter your first alien, or the chaos starts, to unfold. And I love that this game, dude, the game looks insane. The creatures, disgusting, amazing. I love that they look disgusting and so menacing. And they don't look human. Or they have humanity, like traces of humanity on them, but they very much ain't human anymore. And I love it. I love it when the monster, it can remind you of what it was, but it's no longer that. And that's beautiful. That's why I think Resident Evil 7 didn't hit as much with its enemies, the blob monsters, the molded, whatever, because they were just big chunks of goo, of black goo. That's why games like Resident Evil 2 hit better with its enemies, because it's people turned just absolutely mental. I love it, man. Callisto Protocol comes out. It has a release date, so it has a release date.
22
December.
Release date.
December 2nd, 2022, man. That is bananas. And you know what, Soul? You know what comes out in January? Dead Space Remake.
Yes, sir.
Dead Space Remake by Motive Studio. That they're also, Glenn Schofield, the creator of Dead Space, mentioned that he likes what they're doing, that they're actually putting in the work, and they've done the live streams. They're really emphasizing the horror in this game. And then what comes after that, Soul?
Yeah, Resident Evil 4.
Resident Evil 4 Remake, my guy. Like, what's going on? We're gonna be shitting for days, my guy.
and I mean, we don't know if it's been said that Last of Us Remake is this fall.
Ooh.
So yeah, who knows?
And there's the leaks that happen. Hey man, I'm gonna throw all of them. A fight of Silent Hill images. Man, listen. Horror was never gone. It was just sleeping. It was regenerating. You know Nezuko from Demon Slayer? That was horror. Horror is regenerating. He's a tier 1 demon, my guy. Because the Quarry is also coming out. The Quarry looks insane too. Listen, man. Horror? Don't become a whore. Become a horror fan.
Oh man.
Sheesh. But yeah, man, I'm excited that you're interested. Oh yeah, man. I want to hear your take whenever that happens. I want to hear you scream and succumb to the darkness.
Jesus Christ.
But it's already up for pre-order if y'all are interested.
I really like that box art. The box art's pretty cool.
Box art looks nice. It shows what we're gonna be feeling. Hopelessness.
This will mean something to you, but Karen Fukuhara is in the game.
But my guy, listen. She's a badass. Now, will she be a badass throughout the whole game? Maybe she'll die in the first 5 minutes. I don't know, but she's in the game, my guy. And I still need to watch the first 3 seasons of The Boys season 3. It came out 2 days ago, or yesterday, I think, and I'm excited. But dude, Karen Fukuhara, bro, come on. Come on, let's go. She knows about the gore. She's already been in The Boys, so who knows? Maybe she's another badass in this game.
Yeah.
or she's like Dead Space. She betrays you or something. Hey man, I'm excited for it. And there's a collector's edition that they haven't thrown out yet for pre-order. It's still blacked out on their website.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'm excited, man. I am excited. So yeah, on top of this, what was next after this?
After Callisto, it was Roller Drome.
Fuck yes, dude. Like I'm
Yes,
saying,
sir.
like all of these, dude. This game looked sick.
It was so fun.
I thought it was Sable, as I'm pretty sure 90% of people thought it was Sable.
Yes, that's the name. Oh my! I was Macho. This game reminds me of that. It's so I forget. It had the same vibe as Solar Ash, like that kind of art style kind of deal, and it was Sable. Yes. Oh my god.
Yeah. But dude, like as soon as they showed the character like coming out of that hallway and roller skating, and then when the guns started popping off, I was like, oh yeah, I'm down.
She brought that Glock. I was
Yeah.
down for it.
Yeah. Well, it's just because like I feel like I haven't seen like it's almost like, can you imagine like Tony Hawk, like a Tony Hawk game, like a Pro Skater 3, but instead of like tricks, you're going for like a high score, trying to kill as many like targets as possible. Like I don't know, like it it's gonna be interesting to see like how in depth are like the trick systems, like how many tricks can you pull off, and like yeah, I don't know, man. It's
If I read correctly, I think that when you perform tricks, you gain ammo.
okay.
So you're incentivized to keep doing tricks to keep getting more ammo to do more combinations of kills. So
But it's gonna be interesting, like if it's just as like a deep as a puddle in terms of like similar to like Spider-Man's trick system when you're swinging. Is it gonna be something like that, or is it gonna be something more in depth and more involved, like a classic Tony Hawk Pro Skater game with its trick system?
I think it'll be in the same vein as their other game, Ollie Ollie World, which I have played on PlayStation. A fantastic game, and it's that there's a lot of tricks to do, but they're simple enough to perform where it's satisfying. It is satisfying to perform them, but there's like little margins of error. Like there's very tight margins of error. So I assume that this is going to be a very tight and precise game where you're gonna have like I don't know 50 different tricks, and it's like, oh, left and X is one trick, up and X is another trick, left and right and X, like that kind of deal, where you could just do combinations of it. I don't see it being as complicated as Skate or as a Tony Hawk, but I do see it being as varied as an Ollie Ollie World for sure.
Yeah, I would agree. But yeah,
Looks hella nice, by the way.
It
The visuals look great.
yeah, it looked awesome. It looked fucking awesome. Which is hard to do, man. Like I feel like in these shows, like you, like sometimes like the indies have to be on point because they're sitting alongside some juggernauts, right? Like like REs and Street Fighters,
Right after Callisto.
and Callistos, right? But like I feel like the indies that they showcased here, like because I feel like you run into that problem where like they get completely overshadowed and people just aren't interested and they only look towards the big triple A's, which it's fine, it's whatever, but like I feel like they did a really good job of picking indies here that like I genuinely thought looked like I had the reaction of like, oh, I want to play that, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so after Rollerdrome, was it Street Fighter next?
No, it was a Turnight, actually.
Okay, let's talk about this, dude.
It was a
Did you
Turnight.
now tell me, Walt? Did you at any point in this trailer think that this was Persona 6?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought that this was Atlas. For a moment, I was like, "Is this? What is this? Wait, nah." As soon as they went for, like, after the animation that they first did the animated dude like throwing a punch or whatever, like getting his arm cut off. As soon as they showed a glimpse of it, I was like, okay, no, this ain't Atlas. This is indie. As soon as I thought about the like Neptunia JRPGs or like the action RPGs, I immediately recognized that okay, this is a smaller scale thing. But no, dude. Persona 6, dude, there's more build up if it's a P6.
Sure, but like I saw the date in the right corner.
Yeah.
and then the text box with the characters appearing, right next to it. But the thing that immediately convinced me that it wasn't Persona was I'm like, yo, they with the characters appearing next to their text boxes or whatever, it's going to look
Mm-hmm.
way more artistically appealing and like more eye popping than what it did in Eternites. Like it was really just like a white text box with like a 3D model of the character who's speaking appearing right next to the
Mm-hmm.
text box, and it looked no knock on that game, but it looked bland in comparison to like what Persona
Right.
usually does with their, character text boxes when they're talking and things like that. So like when I saw that, I knew immediately, okay, this isn't Persona 6 because they would not make it look that bland and boring.
No, absolutely. What really? So here's the thing. This game was it was one on the lower end for me when I was watching. I was like, okay, it looks fine. It looks inoffensive. It looks like a cool indie, like and a bunch of other. But the more I saw the trailer, because I rewatched it, and I saw the date on the top right. I saw the hold R2 to hold hands. I got very intrigued, and I went to the Twitters, and I found the Twitter account of the developer.
Yep.
And let me read you what this developer says, y'all. It says, big announcement. Today we revealed her nights during Sony State of Play. Okay. Says, I played Persona 5 in 2019, which convinced me to play Persona 4 Golden and Persona 3 FES as well. After that, I quit my job and started developing a game inspired by them.
Yeah.
To think this is someone's brainchild, as soon as they finish the Persona games, I'm in. I want to play it now.
Yeah.
I want to feel the passion. I want to feel like exactly because I saw that game and it looked like it reminded me of Persona because
Really
it had the
did.
dating sim. It had the day-to-day. You were at school talking with this girl, holding hands, and then you were in the metaverse or whatever that place is, fighting enemies, and it looked colorful and Macho mentioned it looks like Scarlet Nexus. It does remind me a bit of Scarlet Nexus as well, or a little bit of a Tales game as well. I'm looking forward to it. Now I really want to play it because of what it means to the developer, and because Persona 5 being my top one game ever. I want to see a passion project that was inspired by you. So I'm interested, man.
And like even read, I think it was a blog post that they put up after the show. The developers talking about the game. They even mentioned like confidants in the game, which like the fact that they referred to it as confidants. I don't know.
You just know.
I'm totally down. And then the way that the game was described, during the show, the lady who like announces the things or whatever, she was like dating or action game meets dating sim in
Dating sim,
Eternites,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, this sounds awesome.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
See, man, this is why people clown on these ideas, but Resident Evil dating sim, hey man, dating sim sell. They're doing a Dead by Daylight dating sim. No one thought that was possible, but it's happening. But yeah, man, I'm excited. Eternites, and at first when I saw the name Eternites, I'm like, this is a Japanese ass name. This is a very Japanese, like, oh, Eternal Nights. Eternites. Yeah. But it's cool. It's cool. I like the vibes, and I like the color palette they're going for. I like the whole vibes they're going for. So I'm interested. At that point, I was like, damn, this really is the best state of play. When even that like got my attention.
Again, that's what I'm saying, because like I feel like it's so easy to forget some of these like quote unquote smaller titles, but the fact that like I totally remember Eternites, I totally remember Roller Drome alongside the Resident Evils and the Street Fighters, I think is a really good indication of like a good show. So yeah, Eternites looked awesome. After that, was that Street Fighter?
After that, it was the graffiti infused Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest like Street Fighter fan, but I thought it looked really really cool.
Super cool, man. Like cool. Like we mentioned cool a lot in this podcast, but the definition of cool, swagger, the hip, as the kids call it. The game looked great. I mean, what they showed, they didn't show the whole, like, one of the biggest things biggest problems that people had with Street Fighter 5 was the roster. Because they had like 4 people at launch. But this time around, they emphasized the like the battle hub situation. Like you can like go around the world and do quests and fight people. I like that they're doing a like veterans versus newcomers kind of deal because they introduced two newcomers with Luke and Jamie, and Kimberly, another character in there, the girl that was fighting Chun-Li. Another thing, so Chun-Li and Ryu, they look great in this engine. They look phenomenal.
Chun-Li especially, man.
Chun-Li, listen, man, she actually looks Asian, and that's what we love. We love to see the characters be what they are. And another beautiful fact, she's being voiced by an actual Asian American person.
Yeah.
I love Laura Bailey and her stuff, but this is amazing. And bro, I told Macho, Chun-Li, hey yo, you know, just saying, a blessing upon our world. But she's the queen of video games. But yeah, man, it looked great. And I'm not a fighting game person myself. I told Macho this, and he's in this podcast. He is the fighting game connoisseur. But I told him this might be the game that gets me to play Street Fighter 6 because it genuinely looks hella cool. And I like the whole, like, they did the ink, like, almost calligraphy style, you know, like, paint situation with Street Fighter 5, I think it was. They're going very graffiti this time, very much appealing to the street fighter aspect of this. It's very street focused, a lot of streetwear happening. I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see what this game becomes. I immediately went to Maximilian Dude to see what he had to say about it, and I'm excited, man. He'll be my source, my go-to, and Macho as well to finding out more about fighting games because I wanna try a fighting game that I like, not only Smash, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it looked really cool. Especially like there's apparently like a hub system now where you can like walk around and kind of like explore a little bit. So that was pretty interesting within itself.
Chill area
definitely reminded me of like a Arc System Works sort of like hub area, with their like BlazBlue games.
Absolutely, or fighters, Dragon Ball Fighters.
Yeah, obviously not with like the chibi versions of characters running around, but yeah, nonetheless, still reminded me of that.
Actual people.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that was Street Fighter 6 coming out in 2023. Yeah, looked fantastic. And then
Beautiful, man.
after that, I want to say it was the back-to-back indies, right? They showed Tunic next.
Yeah, Tunic coming to PlayStation.
Which is, yeah,
Cool.
cool announcement. Yep, cool. And then Seasons, we finally got an update on that game.
The game looks gorgeous. That game's a vibe. It's a vibe and a half. I told Majo this is a cozy game. This is a game that I'm gonna be tucked in bed and playing at night, and oh man, I'm gonna have a great time. It looks great, man.
Yeah. And then the big one.
And then the world came crashing down from the absolute beauty that came after that. What came after that? So what came after that?
Listen, I've never played Final Fantasy 14, you know. But I knew who that man was who showed up. I knew who it was.
People know. You just know who this man is. It's inescapable.
Yeah. So Yoshi P came out and you know, a very very chill, very lax environment, you know, just sitting on an armchair, you know, with all that bling that he's wearing, those rings on his fingers, right? You know, looking like he's a goddamn part of the Yakuza. Like Toshihiro Nagoshi from RGG, right? Looking like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was like, hey, we have the latest information on Final Fantasy 16 to share with you guys today, and good lord, Final Fantasy 16 looks sick.
It looks insane.
It does, man. Yeah, so I mean, what do you have anything specific you want to talk about? Because I was like, honestly, like as someone who has like limited knowledge of Final Fantasy in general, right? Like last game in the series I played was 15, and I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
But again, like my knowledge is pretty limited. I came away being absolutely like blown away by this trailer.
This trailer, like, listen, this trailer gave me the same feeling as watching an anime, like watching Pain versus Naruto hand to hand. I was like, whoa, whoa, wait a minute, stop. I need to recoup from all this excitement. It was insane, man. Something very important, and Macho will tell you next podcast because we're gonna bring it up. Final Fantasy 16. The music was actually like insane. It was amazing. The fact that they showed the icons, the gods in this trailer, and with the music, it said their names. The way that they hyped that up was cool. Actually bananas.
It's funny because I feel like any other company or development studio, that would be cringy. But the way that Final Fantasy did it, it's just like so like I don't know, man. Like you're kind of like okay with it. Like you're like
it's epic.
Yeah, for sure.
It like imagine like Marvel doing that, like Iron Man, Captain America.
It just wouldn't work. We would turn it off. We would leave the theater if that happened.
I'd be like, all right, gonna get my popcorn for the next hour.
Yeah.
Listen, man. I want to hear like more about. So, Final Fantasy 15 is the only Final Fantasy you've played, right?
Not the only one, but I think it is the only one that I've like finished.
And you said that you actually like enjoyed that game, right?
Okay, maybe enjoy was a strong word, but like I liked it enough to see it through to the end. So let's just say that.
What was the weakest part of that game, you think?
This is taking me back to 2016, man. Let's see. Probably the story. I didn't know what the fuck was happening in that game. But and again, this goes back to saying, that I liked it enough to finish it. The characters were the strong point for me because like that ending did hit. It did hit. So,
it did. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. No, you're right. I do think that one of the biggest criticisms that game has is the story for sure, because it doesn't really make you care about characters aside from the main four, which I think that is absolutely the strongest aspect of that game, and it's the bromance that they have. That the bro code, going into the car, driving, everyone's quiet for a bit, and one of them is saying some silly ass thing, and they start joking around, and that's the heart of that game for sure. I know they did like an update later on, Royal Edition, where they added like dungeons and extra stuff. I didn't play that. I played like one of the DLCs. I know that to get the full experience, you needed to play every DLC.
Yeah.
There's like 5 of them or 4 of them, or 5 including the multiplayer one, Comrades. But I really enjoyed that game. It's I think the ending really redeemed it for me. The way that you got the three of them protecting their king, and he's about to go to the final battle, and the way that he sacrifices everything, and all that. It's really cool. Avoiding spoilers and whatnot. This game, what I really enjoy about this trailer is the fact that we're going back to ancient. We're going back to the old days.
Yeah.
It's medieval. It's magic. It's we ain't wearing a leather jacket with some boots. We ain't emos up in this. I am wearing a jacket from Sarah over there. It looks like a legit like armor. There's empires. There's armies colliding. There's actual gods. It seems like there's people that are the gods, the icons. I have no idea what the story is about in this game, but I'm excited. Just seeing them battling it out. This reminds me of currently Critical Role is on this spin-off, or rather side series, where it's called Exandria Unlimited Calamity. And it's essentially, it takes place 1,000 years before the current campaigns, where essentially it's where the gods had a battle, and they, the betrayer gods became the betrayer gods. And essentially the world became what it is after, all the divine beings fought. And this game feels like the start of something big, with all these gods fighting, and Shiva and Titan and Phoenix, and it's cool how your protagonist is actually one of them. I think you're Ifrit. right? I think it showed that you're the icon Ether
And I
in the
think
trailer.
I think one of the main characters, I think his name is Jonathan. I think he's Phoenix, I want to say.
Yeah, the young boy. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
the protagonist has a very. It sounds like someone from Japan came up with a white name like Clive Rosfield or whatever. Hey man, but he looks cool. I like how the protagonist looks. I like that they're playing with time because he looks old in one part and then new in the a bit younger in the other one. They showed some screenshots with the world, and there's a lot of greenery, and there's a lot of barren wastelands, and there's a city. Uh, I wonder if this will be open world or pseudo open world with big areas. I'm excited, man. This trailer. What's insane is that was the closer, and the opener was Resident Evil, for God's sake. Like
Yeah.
this state of play said, okay, you think we're done? No, 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 no.
Like they definitely opened and closed this thing. Like I would be hard pressed to find any other conference or whatever that opened and closed that strong. Yeah. So
There
another
is
thing.
none.
So there's another thing I wanted to, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, but like, do we know that this is just like a one person kind of like game? Like, there's no party involved because like from the two trailers that we have seen, it really is just Clive that we've seen in combat. Like, he's not joined by like party members or anything like that.
I think I don't know the answer. What I do can gather from the trailer is that at the beginning they focused on three characters: on Clive, the young dude, and then a girl. And I don't know if if it'll be like a GTA 5 situation where it's like three separate stories and you switch between them every now and then, or if you're gonna have an actual party. It didn't seem like there was more people in the fighting sequences. But again, it could be that it's just curated with one person. They did say that this game comes out summer 2023. So there's a lot. Final Fantasy games are notoriously big. So they could very much just be showing sections where you're playing only as Clive. Because I bet what we saw is not even a fragment of what that story is gonna consist of.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. If it doesn't have a party, I think that'd be the first Final Fantasy without actual party members. I think. I don't think they do that, but again, we'd have to ask Macho. I want to ask Macho next podcast to see what he thinks that they're doing with this game. I know they brought in the combat designer or gameplay
DMC.
designer from DMC, and that's huge.
And you can tell, and you can fucking tell in that trailer, man. The combat looked sick, man.
It looks high octane as hell.
Yeah, and like the way that you can like juggle, like, and yeah, very DMC for sure. Yeah, I was very happy with the combat. The combat looks so fucking cool.
It was so, and the particles, man, they were going wild with those particles. There was so much light on the screen. I didn't know what was happening. I thought I was having a stroke. Like the when the titans, the icons were fighting, and they would throw attacks at each other. Oh my god!
Yeah,
And they're adding two new like icons to this, or like characters that are like new in this entry. Not necessarily new in the world of Final Fantasy, but like Garuda is one of them. The wind girl.
oh yeah,
And
shit look cool.
then she looks menacing as hell, man. She doesn't look friendly. And there was another one. There was so many, man. Freaking, they had Bahul, but me, I don't know, the wizard guy, the wizard looking guy.
Yeah.
Man, this game, I'm picking it up. Are you picking it up?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Day one. I mean,
Oh,
literally every one of these games,
it's a day
aside,
one.
well, aside from the VR stuff, right? Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
We don't even have a VR.
right.
Yeah. But if we had a VR, would it be day one?
Uh, I mean, Horizon and Village, yeah, I would want to get,
I agree.
but not The Walking Dead. But my point is that literally, like everything that was shown in this state of play, I want to play like day one. And
100%.
and again, my rule is always like, hey, you show me like at least like three things that I can be super excited about, and I think that's a successful show. This thing showed me like, again, like almost everything I wanted to play day one, and that's extremely hard to do, and they did it. So yeah, I can't ask for a better showcase, to be honest.
I don't. If they want to do a better showcase, they have to make it longer. Because in 30 minutes, I don't think you can make it better. Well, the only way you can make it better is instead of, I don't know, Walking Dead's Saints and Sinners, they did factions. You know?
Well, that's the thing I wanted to bring up was I feel like, because again, remember, this was just a state of play, and my thing is that, like, man, if you showed like, let's say Last of Us remake in this show, if this entire show was unchanged aside from the addition of Last of Us factions, I think this could very well have like been a PlayStation showcase. Like that level of, we usually get the showcases in September. I think this very
Right.
well, like, this had the level of announcements I expect at a PlayStation showcase, not a state of play. That's how good it was. So
Absolutely. It didn't feel. I told Macho, bro, that was 30 minutes. Like, I felt like this was like an event.
yeah,
Like, there was so much going on, so much good stuff. I never felt like it was a slog. And now I worry for, because I am going to be watching the Xbox Showcase at level 1 with the people there. I wonder how that will turn out. If they're gonna show games or if they're gonna talk their ass off.
yeah, yeah. I think, again, for something that was only 30 minutes, like, I think this is how it's done, man. It was so well
100%.
done. And then, like, just talking about the show overall again, like, why one of the reasons, like, aside from like the games, but like one of the reasons this really hit for me is because it felt like classic PlayStation. It felt like, E3 shows from like 2016, like that era, or 2015, where like there's literally something for everyone, man. And like, even like aside from just that, like, it felt like classic PlayStation because like Resident Evil and Final Fantasy, like two tentpole franchises that have literally like built PlayStation into what it is today, were featured heavily in this thing. So it felt very like nostalgia, like just classic PlayStation in a way that I feel like we haven't really seen in a while. So yeah, I don't know. It was just good vibes. Like, it was just fun to watch, man. Like, I'm usually depressed watching these things, but like, this was fun. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
100%, man. No, my because of my backlog at the nowadays when I watch a showcase, it's if I can take at least one game that I'm gonna for sure play, I'm good. And they did this at the beginning of that state of play. I was like, oh, I don't care what they're showing. They announced remake, the 4 remake. I'm good. Like, at this point, I'm like, okay, whatever they show afterwards, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I didn't take anything from this. No, they literally started with a game that everyone and their mother will recognize, and it's crazy because this state of play, to your point of classic PlayStation, almost every single a lot of these games were either for people that have stuck around for a long time and recognize what they are. Like, for instance, like Eternites, passion project inspired by Persona, Callisto Protocol, a successor to Dead Space, Horizon, an already established IP of PlayStation. Like, you had Final Fantasy and Resident Evil, staples of PlayStation. Like, you have everything in the showcase was historical as well. It was great. It's beautiful. It was a beautiful state of play. It was that shit deserves to be on the disc and encased in glass in a museum.
Yeah, yeah. Again, it's just how it's done, man. It's just how it's done. And
Yeah,
what a
and
great
no
way.
talking.
Yeah,
Just a little section where a dude was talking about a game and that's it. And that's what the showcase should be, man. A state of play, a Nintendo Direct. Just show the games, man. I know that Nintendo Direct has the whole thing of like, oh, and now next, this is from our friends at Monolith Studio comes the new entry in the Xenoblades, whatever. I get it. Like, I get the vibes, family friendly, we're having fun. But, dude, just show the games. What else are we here for? Like, I don't. When they said the 33 million thing, I'm like, okay. I didn't need to know that, but flex. you
But I
know,
mean,
it's
that was something that they didn't do in the showcase. That was something they announced like after the fact. So
but it is attached to, like, it is information that you get, because as soon as, I mean, at least for us here in the niche of being very very into the gaming community, we immediately went to the website and wanted to know more about the game. They don't have to include that information, but they can, because they already satisfied us with the absolute mammoth that was the state of play. Honestly, man, I don't see another state of play be of this caliber unless it's maybe like one state of play dedicated to one big game, and even then, it's not like, it won't be to that caliber. Like how they did the Horizon exclusive state of play. If they do a God of War state of play exclusive, if it's not even, I don't feel like even that will hit us hard. You know?
I mean, I feel like the expectations are different with those. I mean, of course, just a state of play that's focused on one game is not going to be, you know, it's not going to judge up like the same. I mean, maybe it will, but I feel the two aren't comparable. Like a state of play where you're getting multiple games versus just a state of play that's focused on one. It's just not comparable.
That just goes to show just how much PlayStation is not just about, oh, this is the game you should get this console for, or this is, no. If you're getting this console, you have variety. And I think that's important. I don't think you have a PlayStation because, oh, you're waiting for that one game. I think it's because you got variety. And something that it's going to be, they mentioned with Stray, PlayStation Plus. It's going to be on PlayStation Plus Essentials and Premium. That's something that's going to be now in people's heads when they buy a PlayStation. And I was joking with Macho with, oh, now every game that they announce, they have to disclose whether or not it's going to be on PlayStation Plus, and they did that with Stray being on PlayStation Plus, so, or Essentials. So that's like, you know how we joke, like, is it on Game Pass? No, it's going to be, is it on PS Plus? But is it on PS Plus? I don't think so. I won't play unless it's on PS Plus. That'll be the new hip thing to say on Twitter. Oh, man, I don't know. These PS Plus games, that's why I don't buy games, because they just show up on PS Plus. It's like you with sales. You bought Arkham Knight, luckily enough. But if you had bought it before that, you would have been pissed if you then saw it at $7.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's good stuff, man. I'm excited. This was a great state of play. What would you rate it? Me and Macho rated it. What would you rate it?
Honestly, like a 10. I think this is how you do it.
Perfect.
Man. This is how you do it. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, sure. I mean, again, in terms of like showing me things that I want to buy, like everything that was shown off here, like I want to play. So, I again, I struggle to find a low point in this thing. Like maybe aside from the Walking Dead thing, after that it was just like everything. I was just like, yeah, I want to play all of these. So, yeah.
For sure, man. And shout out to Mahmood in the chat. How's it going, fellas? Doing pretty good. Talking the greatness that is State of Play PlayStation 2022.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that is pretty much it for the State of Play. Yeah, it was awesome, and again, what a great way to kick off the Summer Game Fest. I believe this week is the Jeff Keighley one.
Summer Game Fest.
Yeah. And then also like going back to State of Play really quick, like it's funny because like yeah, PlayStation managed expectations. They're like, hey, it's only gonna be, and again, why this worked so well is because they were like, hey, this is just going to be third party and PSVR 2, and it was exactly that, but it was like the creme de la creme of goddamn third party titles. So yeah, it fucking worked, man. It fucking worked.
And they touched on first party stuff.
Yeah, just a little bit, but yeah.
Just a tad bit, like they talked about it, but they didn't announce anything new for first party.
So, and going back, since you mentioned God of War, now I think it makes the absolute sense, and I think I have been saying this because people, certain people are saying that God of War now is like, okay, it's gonna be at Jeff Keighley's thing. And I'm like, I think it makes way more sense for this thing to be just like we've seen the track record with Horizon, Demon Souls, Destruction All Stars, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us Part Two, that they all have dedicated state of plays to themselves, and I think the same thing is going to happen with God of War. Like it just feels like it's absolutely primed to get that treatment as well, more than ever. So I don't think it's smart to have God of War in the Games Fest or happen in June, because that's literally where everything is happening all at the same time, right? Jeff Keighley's thing is going to have tons of announcements. The Xbox Showcase is going to have tons of announcements. You don't want God of War. Not to say it's going to be lost in the shuffle, but like, hey, like a bunch of like it could happen, I guess. Even though God of War is absolutely huge, but you don't want to run the risk of it being, you know, overshadowed. Like you want that to suck up all the air in the room, right? You want that thing to have, you know, all the news talking about that and that alone. So I think it's smart to have it in like July, that state of play centric God of War. You know, in July by itself, where, you know, everyone can be solely focused on that rather than now where it's going to be tons of games fighting for attention.
Absolutely. No, for sure. And again, it's a highly anticipated one. It's a key game to the console itself. I think it very much deserves its own state of play to do the same thing. Not a Hogwarts Legacy type deal where they showcase what its features are, but just the curated section of the game. It's a narrative heavy title. It makes sense for them to make a gameplay infused with narrative kind of section, and finish it off with a big enemy fight like they did with the mammoth in Horizon. For sure, it makes sense. And Summer Game Fest, I feel like it would definitely mute a lot of the other announcements. I don't think it's a game you showcase in Summer Games Fest. Because that's a big thing with showcases. You don't just throw shit that people are excited for. There's an art to this. Marketing has a way of organizing stuff. Because this state of play, I guarantee you, it wouldn't have hit it as well as it did if it wasn't organized the way it was.
Yeah, for sure.
I guarantee it. If they had just switched one of those games to be after the other, it would have been a completely different showcase. Completely different.
I do think pacing and like the order of the things are, yeah, they're definitely important. That's why, yeah, I thought it was really expertly done to have RE, you know, start things off. You have Street Fighter in the middle, and then you close with Final Fantasy. Like, yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Absolutely. Imagine that starting with Roller Drome, you know?
And that's no shade of Roller Drum, because Roller Drum looks
No,
fucking
for sure.
sick,
But then it would get muted because people would, because here's the trick. Start with something really hard hitting and end with something hard hitting. What you're gonna make two checkpoints. Anything that comes after or before those hard hitting announcements, you're gonna remember. Because you're gonna be, oh man, after this game they did this, or before this game they did this. You're gonna be more in tune with listening and keeping in your mind what is being announced. And if Roller Drone was announced, let's say Roller Drone, Mature Nights, and Walking Dead Saints and Sinners would be on the beginning. People would start saying, "Man, this it started slow, but then it picked up." No one's saying that. No one is saying that. People are saying this state of play a hit. So for those wondering, why isn't this game in this? Shut up! You don't know marketing.
But yeah, it was really well done. I think that's gonna do it for what was, without question. I don't think you could find another example, but without question, this was the best state of play yet.
I agree.
So yeah, that's gonna do it for that, and I think that's gonna do it for the podcast in general as well, man. Yeah,
Sheesh.
not really much else to really discuss, but yeah,
Not much else to discuss. This was quite the amount of stuff to remember from this last week. I mean, not much else happened.
Yeah, it's a great time. It's a great time to be alive, man. It's a gamer Christmas right now. I'm excited for the weeks ahead, for the months ahead. So yeah, man. So before we get out of here, we're gonna get started with some outros. Walt, you got anything going on this week?
This week, well, I'll be over at Level One Gaming on YouTube. Gonna be reacting with the fam over there to the Xbox Showcase. When that happens, a week and a half from now or something. We'll be doing that this week specifically. I'll be playing more Kirby, reliving my childhood. Probably starting Death Stranding new game later on this week. Keep chipping at Horizon. I assume you will as well after completing a mammoth as Divinity. Aside from that, man, I don't think what is aside from games, man. I'll be I I last Sunday I said to myself, I'm not gonna watch the new Stranger Things season because it's not completely out yet. I'm gonna wait until July 1st. And I said to myself, I'm gonna watch one episode a week until that second part comes out. I lied to myself, man. I binged the whole thing after episode one. I couldn't hold myself. And I just watched the whole thing. If y'all want to watch some good TV and you haven't seen Stranger Things, watch Stranger Things season one from the top. That's a fantastic show. You'll get nostalgia for things that you never experienced. It's crazy how they do that. Watch more Spy Family. Be on the lookout for Togashi's Twitter handle. I don't know the name. It's a lot of numbers and letters, but he's constantly posting his work in progress from Hunter x Hunter manga. People go ballistic every time he posts something, even though it's literally just a page number. It's insane, but it's happening, y'all. We're witnessing the continuation of Hunter x Hunter. Boys season 3 came out. Video games, bro. Manga, anime, video. It's great to be in entertainment right now and consumer. Be a consumer of all the mediums. So this week, I'm gonna be consuming all of that and working. But yeah, man. How about you? So what would you got planned after Divinity, the great Divinity?
Yeah, so definitely finishing off Batman Arkham Knight. We'll see how long that takes, but yeah, definitely want to finish that. Besides that, not too much. Yeah, probably just slowly going through the games that I bought over the days of play. So, but yeah, man, that's going to do it for us. Thank you guys for watching, and yeah, I want to remind you guys before we get out of here to please go ahead and like the podcast, share it out, subscribe to the channel. That would help us out a bunch. And yeah, we will catch you guys next week. Peace out.